Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Namofsky. Today we're discussing social media for small businesses. Now, Kira, before we went to break, we were talking about the best time to post. Is there a best time?
Yeah, so it's interesting because you said before COVID, there used to be a belief that one of the best times to post was actually before or after the workday, because a lot of people would be sitting on the train and they might be reading their phones looking for content. So as you alluded to, that changed. A lot of people are working from home or were working from home. So what we usually recommend to businesses is to actually test and learn. So what you can do is, if you are either using a social media tool to post content or if you're doing it on your own, you should measure your engagement when you post at different times, because that will allow you to see how your brand is fitting into the space, because it will be very different for someone in the financial space versus someone in the consumer space, because people look for different types of news at different times of the day. So I think it's really important to test and learn and spend a bit of time understanding what's working and what's not, and adjusting your approach based on that.
But that also, I mean, if you look at that, it also alludes to who your client is.
Yes. Yeah. So it's really about who you're trying to reach. As we chatted about a little bit earlier, you have to think about your audience. So it's not about posting when it's good for you, oh, the workday's over, I'm going to get on social media. But what if your client is someone that prefers to look in the morning? So there are a lot of tools out there that you can pre-schedule content. So I highly recommend trying it that way so that you can kind of get ahead of the next day, try a few different times, really try to see when your audience is active, and that will really help you increase your engagement.
So my next question is twofold. I want to talk about best practices for answering comments.
Yes.
Now, question number one, do you answer to every comment? And if there's a negative comment, do you ignore it? Do you engage? Do you walk away?
Right. So I think in general, especially if you're trying to build your brand, it's important to answer comments. It shows that you're actively monitoring your social media. There are a lot of people out there that will post something and then not look at it, and you go back later and there's 10 comments. That's an opportunity for engagement. So if those comments were made at different times, different days, you can be constantly engaging with people and growing your audience. So I do recommend answering comments when you can, when it's appropriate, because it does help continue to increase your engagement on that platform. If there are negative comments, it can actually be an opportunity to turn it around. So if there is a complaint, for example, that's your opportunity to fix it. So you can ask the person to take the conversation offline, for example. You don't want to have a huge comment stream where you're going back and forth on something, but you can say, I'm so sorry to hear that. Can you contact me via this avenue, whatever's appropriate? And that's a great way to start a conversation and fix a problem, as opposed to others seeing the comment go unanswered.
Now, there are other people that have become professional negative commenters.
Yes.
I've always thought, don't engage with them, because this is what they want. They want to fight. They want engagement. So how do you deal with that?
Yes. So if there's a situation where you're getting continuous negative comments, there may be an opportunity to maybe block that person. If this person is attacking your brand or your personal social media channels, and they're doing it for fun at that point, then I think it's okay to block that individual, because at that point you're not helping to build your brand by engaging with them. You're only engaging with them to build up their own brand, because they are looking for engagement, for people to look at them. So I think that would be the one situation where it would be appropriate to take the precautions to protect your brand.
And you know what? I think that's important, because a lot of people can be very mean because they hide behind their phone, their computer, or whatever.
Yes.
And, we don't need that. So yes, if they're being mean to you and whatever, block them. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
Now, people talk about their time being limited. Is there a way to plan post content? Because we were talking about, people going to the office or after work. Can we plan content in advance?
Yep.
When it comes to social media accounts, importance of content in a calendar or whatever?
Yes. I highly recommend pre-planning content. There's a lot of tools out there. There's one called Hootsuite that is actually a free tool. You can use it to pre-plan, schedule your posts. There is a paid version of it that actually has detailed metrics as well. So depending on if you're trying to monitor your posts or if you're just looking to schedule them, that's an example of a platform. There's also one called Social Pilot. So those are two that we commonly recommend. They're relatively low cost. They're great for small businesses. they really help you to set your content up and forget it, especially if it's something that doesn't need to be timely. So for example, on social media, you might want to react to an economic announcement. Unfortunately, you can't pre-plan that because you don't know what the Bank of Canada is going to do.
Right.
But you can complement that reactive commentary with some pre-planned posts that week. So you can do both. You don't have to kind of set it and forget it. You can do both.
Hold that thought. We'll be right back with more branding.